Hey, JSB here, and I'm back with some album reviews for 2025 at long last. I'm conscious that my stack of new releases for this year is piling high, and I really haven't got around to talking about anywhere like enough of them. So I'm going to try and rectify that today with a bunch of four that I've broadly categorized under the Singer-Songwriter label. Quite different albums, but all fantastic. That's my very quick summary. And the albums are going to be Blondshell, If You Ask for a Picture, Love Is For Everyone from Andrew Cushin, Martin Page's The First and Last Freedom, and Jason Isbell's Foxes in the Snow. And yeah, I've just learned how to say his name today. You thought it was Bell as well, didn't you? Well, so did I. But it's not, it's Bull. Anywho, the album's not Bull, but we won't get to that quite yet. We will start with Ladies, or Lady in the case of Sabrina Teitelbaum, and I've no idea if I'm saying that correctly, but she's happily better known as the much more easily pronounceable Blondshell, and this is album number 2. Debut came out in 2023 and was one of my favorites of the year. If there was a problem with that album, it was a little on the short side, 9 songs, 32 minutes, which is actually pretty damn good. I can go with that, really. But this effort has 12 songs and 47 minutes, and it even has proper packaging, whereas the debut was just one of those awful bits of cardboard that were folded over with a CD in it, which I loathe. This time around, we've got a proper gatefold package and a lyric sheet, which is great because it means I can read some of it to you. And these lyrics are worth hearing. Kind of folds out into a poster. And the thing about Blondshell is she doesn't leave anything unsaid. Everything is exposed, and she's brutally honest about herself and the people around her and all of their failings, which are many. First single from this album is called What's Fair, and is probably an excellent choice for a first single. It's about relationship with her mother, who shows they didn't do a particularly great job in that role. If you go by the chorus, what's fair? What's a fair assessment of the job you did? Do you ever even regret it? It's not rare, doesn't make it less depressing. Tried so hard, am I overcorrecting? Yeah, the first verse before that, I won't recite the whole thing for you, but I grew up fast without you, do my lashes in the bathroom, and some things you'd like to skip. 16, sucking dick in the bathroom. I mean, that's the level of brutality and honesty we get throughout, but the songs are memorable. You can sing along with them, even if you sometimes think you shouldn't, especially if you're a bloke, which I happen to be. Another key song here is actually the second single, TNA. And the first verse kind of says it all. We were really friends, didn't think about anything else. I liked having someone to call, but I started taking my shirt off and facing the wall. And he said something about it one time. I said, if you stop drinking, maybe I could find you attractive. Maybe I could let you have it. And it happened. As for what TNA stands for, I'll leave that to your imagination, but I'm sure you can work it out. The opening track as well, Thumbtack, is fantastic. For each of these albums today, I'm going to give you 3 songs that you should listen to as a starting point for whether you should get into the album. And in this case, it's those 3, What's Fair, Thumbtack, and TNA. But there's not a weak track on this album. Her vocals are great. The musicianship on here is excellent. And it is, as I say, raw and uncompromising. Yeah, I would love to devote more time to each of these albums, but that's pretty much how much time I've got for each of them. So I don't want to do them an injustice by not going through every single track, but well, we haven't got all day, have we? So yeah, Blondshell, if you ask for a picture, great. And I'm not going to rate these albums today because they're all in the 4+ star category. Any quibbles over whether it's 4, 4.25 or 4.5 across these albums is they're all great. All right, number 2, who also had his debut out in 2023 as to Blondshell, was Andrew Cushin. His debut was Waiting for the Rain, and like Blondshell, it was a crappy folded piece of cardboard with a disc in it. Unfortunately, he's moved to Lab Records, but they package things even worse, and has to be said. Even though they really like you to buy their physical product, which is why we not only have a signed CD of it, but we have signed vinyl and even a signed cassette. What can I say? We were trying to get it up the charts, and it succeeded. It became only their second album, I'm talking about the label here, to ever chart at number 35. They've had 2 top 3 albums, and I'll talk about that band another week. So, as I say, myself and my hubby are big fans of the debut, and we were a little concerned that the sophomore effort was going to be sophomore slump territory, because there were 4 songs released as advanced singles, and the title track was the first, and that was decent. Probably not quite as good as most of the stuff on the first album. And then the second and third singles were, well, one of them was called All Right, and it was all right. And then we got A Song for You. It's like, not so keen on that one, and I'm still not. And then mercifully, fourth single came out just before the album. That was a track called New World Blazing, and it does blaze, and it was right back on form. So funnily enough, yeah, 3 of those 4 songs are my least favourites on this album, but the title track has certainly grown on me. The other 2 tracks I mentioned, they're not bad, but everything else that's here is better. And we've seen them twice this year so far. Hubby might have seen them a third time, or if not, was going to. Once before the album was released in a acoustic solo gig, and then again when the album was out with his full band, and he played just about everything from here. And whether it's acoustic or full band, it all sounds great. Even the ones I'm a bit less keen on. But yeah, New World Blazing is a cracking track. Catch the Sun's gorgeous. Something ain't quite right. There's nothing wrong with that. And the ending of the album is fantastic as well, especially the last 2 tracks. Standing by My Side is really heartfelt, stripped back and gorgeous. And I'm Coming Home ends on a more upbeat note. And vocally, he is top notch. When you see him in person, he's also very funny, if you can understand his Geordie accent, which at times I struggle with. Hey, some people don't always understand my accent, so you can't help these things. But yeah, first class, new generation singer-songwriter. He's only in his early to mid-20s and already has 2 cracking albums out. So if you haven't heard Andrew Cushin, rectify that, is my strongly worded advice. And yeah, as I say, the packaging is a bit flimsy, but at least we got a signature on it. Also have a signature on this, the First and Last Freedom from Martin Page, who of course I have interviewed on the channel, which will be floating around at the end of the video, quite possibly, or if not too far away for you to find, and well worth a watch. At the time I interviewed him, the album had only been out for a few days, and I hadn't yet received my physical copy. And this is how you package an album, folks. Some gorgeous artwork. You've got an essay from Martin about the creation of the album, all the song lyrics and full musician credits for every song, and pictures of the musicians in action during the recording. And for those who know his earlier albums, especially his debut solo album, In the House of Stone and Light from 1994, this is very much a deliberate sort of continuation or revisiting of the vibe of that album, with a lot of the same musicians on here, including Trevor Thornton, who's the main drummer on this album, for reasons that I won't get into, but we do get into on our interview chat. And we've also got Paul Joseph Moore from the Blue Nile was on that album and is on this album on keyboards, and guitarist Brian Fairweather, Jack Hughes from Wang Chung, Bill Dillon as well, and also on this album, who wasn't on the other one, is a gentleman called Ray Parker Jr. on guitar on a couple of tracks. And the tracks here vary, taken into some unexpected places. There's some really deeply moving tracks like Your Whole Heart, which is written about Jimmy Copley, who was intended to be the drummer on these tracks, but sadly succumbed to leukemia before he could do that. There's a track called Fade, which is about dementia and seeing a person literally fading away before your eyes, but the line is every beautiful flower has to fade, is from the chorus. And yeah, that one will move you if you have a heart. If you don't, then maybe it won't. Another great track on here is Black Sun, which is kind of a more reggae-ish vibe. Some really tasty guitar work on that. And that one is inspired by an artist whose name I definitely can't pronounce, but who was blinded in an attack in his New York apartment in the late 70s. And, had everything taken away from him. Not his life, obviously, but an awful lot when you're an artist is reliant on sight. But he managed to come back, move into sculpture, travel the world, and find peace, I guess you could say. So that's a great song. But I mean, I can just list every title on here, basically. Little Bird I'm going to mention because that is a completely different thing. It's really funky and upbeat. Nothing too deep on that one, but that's a little bit of light relief in amongst some of the heavier tracks. You in with Breathe in My Heart, which is another deeply moving track and has a Zulu choir on it for some additional colour. So I said I was going to give you 3 tracks from each of these albums. I think I forgot to do that with Andrew. So quickly going back to that, New World Blazing, Standing by My Side and I'm Coming Home. On this one, I'm going to say Fade, Your Whole Heart and Black Sun. Again, if you like those, you'll like the rest. So just, listen to the whole damn thing. Right, one more to go. We're doing well. This is from the very lushly and beautifully produced Martin Page album to a very spare album, which is literally just Jason and his guitar in this case. The 400 unit are not featured at all. There's no guest musicians whatsoever. It is literally a one-man show. And reasons for that is it's super personal. It's not exactly a full-on divorce album, but there's a few tracks that are very much related to Jason's recent divorce, but there's also some that are more to do with his new relationship, which I'm pleased to tell you is going better. Now, some fantastic lyricism on here, as ever, from Jason. True Believer is one of those songs that is all about the divorce. And, here the packaging is pretty simple. But, a lyric sheet is enough to keep me happy if I can't have the full, beautiful packaging of something like this. But just something, guys, something. And, so lyrically here we've got, all your girlfriends say I broke your fucking heart and I don't like it. There's a letter on the nightstand I don't think I'll ever read. I finally found a match and you keep daring me to strike it. Now I have to let it burn to let it be. Yeah. Kind of like Blondshell in some ways, but without too many mentions of dicks or even tits. Hey, you can't have everything, can you? Again, a single here is probably my least favorite amongst the tracks, which was the second single, which is the title track. I just don't find the melody of that one quite as strong as the rest, although lyrically it's strong as the rest of the album is. But other favourites here, another divorce song, Gravelweed. I was a gravelweed and I needed you to raise me. I'm sorry the day came when I felt like I was raised. And now that I live to see my melodies betray me, I'm sorry the love songs all mean different things today. If you've been in a relationship where you've had someone write love songs for you that's ended, I haven't. Nobody's ever written a love song for me, which is terrible. And it's about time somebody did, as long as they don't subsequently divorce me. Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen somehow. I do those things. But yeah, it must be a hard thing to either be the recipient of those songs or be the person who wrote them and having to reframe them to still be able to sing them. Because, of course, some of them are staples of a set list. Now, the only thing that will work against this album in the long run is the fact that it is just man and acoustic guitar. So It's probably not going to sit alongside the likes of Southeastern and Weathervanes as an all-time favourite in his catalogue, but at the same time, it might be the best album that I've talked about today, and they're all great. Uh, I have a close friend that you will have seen on the channel if you've been well behaved, called Sean, who of course runs his own channel, Reaction to the Classics, and he is a massive Jason fan, even though he doesn't know how to pronounce the name, and he's going to learn that from this video. It's Isbell, Sean. Anyway, he was lucky enough to see Jason perform some of these tracks live with 400 unit, and I think that the fuller arrangements really did work for them. I can see why he didn't do that, both in terms of subjecting the band to the depths of his soul in the studio while he was working things out, and just because of the spare nature of the lyrics in some of the songs. But I would dearly love to hear them with a full band. So hopefully, Jason and the 400s will be back in London town sometime soon. If they are, I'll go see them. I saw them last time they were here, and they were fantastic. All right. Well, that is very brief and not doing justice to any of these, but 3 tracks from this one. I'm going to say Gravelweed, Good While It Lasted, and True Believer. But yeah, all of these are strong top to bottom, even if there's a track or two on most of them that isn't my favourite. Well, that happens, doesn't it? They can't all be your favourites, but they can all be good. And if you're into singer-songwriters from the classic era, 60s, 70s, and you're not listening to new music, rectify it, because these albums are fantastic and you're going to find a lot to enjoy. If you are into your new music, then same thing. The sounds on these vary from, as I say, extremely spare to really quite lush to more modern indie stylings on these 2 albums. So have a listen to at least a track or 3, if not the entire albums, and let me know what you think. If you already know one or all of these albums, definitely let me know what you think, which is your favorite. Are any of these contenders for album of the year for you? Because they're all pretty damn close for me. As was Sam Fender's People Watching, who's another great singer-songwriter, but I have reviewed this album in more depth earlier on this year, so that will probably be sat alongside my Martin Page review floating around my head right about now, actually. So on that note, I will say thank you for watching and check these out. Bye for now, but not for long.
Acting is reacting. This does not mean acting again.